Hi friends, this is Leela. Welcome to my channel Leela WebDev. In the previous session, we have learned about the CSS specifying the colors. That is nothing but hexadecimal notation. We have learned it, and also how to decode that hexadecimal to the decimal value. Also, we have seen it, and its alpha value also we have seen. Now let's try to learn another form of notation for mentioning the CSS color. That is nothing but an RGB notation. So hexadecimal, that is a shorthand notation for the RGB. Now we will try to learn about the RGB notation. So as you already know, RGB stands for red, green and blue. So RGB colors are defined with RGB color function. So we will be using RGB color function. So I will try to do RGB, and this one, for mentioning this one RGB in the CSS, so we will be using RGB function. So this is a function, color function, using either numbers or percentages as parameters. In this one we will send either number or the percentage. The numbers should be, range will be 0 to 255 as we already discussed, and the percentages will be between 0% to 100%. So this is how it will be. RGB works on the 0 to 255 scale. So that means 255 would be equal to 100%. 255 will be equal to 100%, whereas 0 will be equal to 0%. So this is common notation. So it works on the 255 scale. So now we understood about what are the parameters it will take. 3 parameters it will take, R, G and B, and this one will be a number notation or percentage notation it will be having. So for example, let's say that to set the black in the RGB, so then we can define it using RGB, and here you can have something like 0 space 0 space 0, okay, which is a 0 red, 0 green and 0 blue. So this is how. And we can also represent using something like percentage notation, RGB of 0% space 0% space 0%. Like this also we can notate it. So now in order to mention the white color means which is an exactly opposite color, so that is nothing but RGB of, you can mention it as 255 comma 255 comma 255, you can mention it, or otherwise you can mention using the percentage notation 100% comma 100% comma 100%. And now we can also set the alpha in the RGB color also. So we can set in the two ways. Alpha can be set in the two ways. Either we can add a slash after the red, green and blue parameters, or we can use the another function, RGBA function also we can use it. So for example, let's say that if you want to use slash means, so you can write in a such a way that, so if I try to here, so you can write RGB of, okay, so RGB of, you can use it 0 space 0 space 0 space slash 50%. You can have 50% like this. So alpha can be notation, alpha can be represented using the percentage 0 to 100% or 0 to 1 scale. Okay, so this one is nothing but, if you want to mention it 0 to 1 scale, RGB of 0 space 0 space 0 space slash 0.5. you can also give it like this. Anyway is okay. For a wider support and for the browsers and all those things, we will use something like RGBA of, so here I can use here I will be using 0 comma 0 comma 0 comma, we will be using 50%. So we are using RGBA function instead of RGB function. So like this also you can use it. Sometimes I'm using commas and sometimes I'm not using commas, so don't think like that. So both of the things will be separated. You can also use the comma oriented also. Normally comma were removed from the RGB and HSL notation because newer color functions are also been executed, has been introduced. They are in the experimental process. Nothing but LAB and LCH, like this we are able to get it. So the A axis, B axis, L means something like I didn't remember exactly. So these color functions are also we are able to get it. So these are human distances, like this humanoid colors, like that we are able to get it, new things, but still they are in the experimental. So here we will be using in this one space oriented, so not to create confusion for that one. So now the newer browsers also supports this space notation. So if you want, you can use the comma orientation also, as a delimiter, or otherwise you can use the space as a delimiter also. This changes. So why they are using the spaces and all those things means in order to provide some consistency. So for the newer color functions and also the older color functions, in order to provide a consistency, so they are providing these things. So if you want to have a better backward compatibility and all those things, you can also use the comma oriented also. For newer browsers only these spaces will work. For the older browsers and all those things, this comma oriented also will be working. So this is all about the RGB color notation. So I want to explain you this RGB color notation. And the next one what I want to discuss you is the HSL notation. So this is also one of the color notation which we will be using in the CSS colors. So most probably we'll be using hexadecimal notation and RGB notation. This HSL notation means nothing but what I can say, hue, saturation and the lightness. So the full form for this one is hue, saturation and the lightness. So what I can say here, HSL stands for the hue, saturation and the lightness. Hue describes the value on the color wheel. So actually you will be having a color wheel. How it will look like is like this you will be having. So this looks like a color wheel. Color wheel from the 0 to 360 degrees. So you'll be having from 0 to 360 degrees it will represent, starting with the red. Here it will start with the red, being both 0 and the 360. A hue of 180 or 50% would be in the blue range. 180 or 50 range will be in the blue range. So it's the origin of the color that we see. Saturation, so this is the hue thing. Saturation is nothing but what I can say is how vibrant the selected hue is. So the selected hue in the wheel we have selected the degrees, right? How vibrant the color is. A fully desaturated color with a saturation of 0% will appear grayscale. For example, let's say that we use this one color like this, color HSL of 344, 79%, 40%. So we'll be using like this. So first one is the hue, that is nothing but a degrees. So if you want, you can also use the degree like this, or otherwise you can this is nothing but saturation, so which is we are trying to learn it. So if you mention this one 0% means then it will appear in the grayscale. And finally lightness is the parameter which describes the scale from white to black of the added light. So lightness of 100% will always give you white. So if you try to give 100% here, will always give you white. So this is another notation. So this is another notation of using the HSL format. So you can also mention the alpha for this one also. So you can use HSL of 0 space 0 space 0. Actually we need to use percentage. Okay, so here we'll be using percentage, and here you can use something like 50%. So slash 50% you can use it, or otherwise comma oriented we can use it. So there is nothing but HSL A format. So 0 comma 0 percentage comma 0% comma 50%. You can use it like this also. 0.5 the scale also you can use it. Apart from this color notation, so HSL RGB color notation, we have another one that is nothing but a color keywords. Okay, color keywords also there is also there in the color keywords. So color keywords, there are about 148 named color keywords are there in the CSS. So we'll be having purple, tomato, goldenrod. So these are all some of the popular color names we'll be having. So these all things also we can use it directly. So color keywords. So let's try to see implementation. Apart from this color code also, we have another one. So keywords, that is nothing but a transparent. Transparent is also there. It will represent the fully transparent color. It is also the default value for the background color. And we have another one that is nothing but a current color. So this keyword, special keyword is also there, current color. So this is a contextual computed dynamic value of the color property. For example, if you have a text color of red and you want to set then set the border color to be current color, then it will also be red. If the element doesn't have any color or anything means the current color will be taking from the cascade instance. That means parent like that it will try to take it. So this is also one of the thing which you want to use it. So now we have learned the different types of color notation. That is nothing but first one is the hexadecimal notation, next one is RGB notation, and the another one is the HSL notation, and the last one is the color keywords like purple, red, like these color keywords we can use it. And we have seen some special keywords, that is nothing but transparent, and also the current color. So this is also one of the important thing. So these are all different types of color notations which are available in the CSS. So there are also some more important, some more also there which I have told you, LAB like that. But those things we are still in the experimental process. So if these are fully supported means we'll try to learn about those things also. So these are all about the CSS color notation. Hope you understood about the CSS colors. If you have any doubts or any suggestions, please post the comments below to this video. And if you like this video, please do support me by subscribing to my channel. Thank you.